Okay, we are back and we're at the second letter of our acronym from Dr. Joel Furman, G-BOMBS. Now, why is this acronym even important? Well, it is a pointer to the foods that really make a difference to our health and create ideal weight as well. So last week we talked about dark leafy greens. That's the G. This week is all about beans. And as I was growing up, I ate the standard American diet. We hardly ever had beans in our house.
Well, we didn't either, except for pork and beans occasionally out of a can.
Yeah, we use them almost not at all. And today, we wouldn't go by with the day without beans or lentils because we want them. They taste great. They are very filling. They're extremely good for all the health benefits that Bill will fill us in on.
Yeah, so beans, it's interesting. When people that come to us often are shifting over to whole food plant-based, leaving the animal sources out, one of the first questions they have is, where do you get your protein?
Yeah, where is the protein with that animal foods?
Yeah. And beans are a great source of protein. So like garbanzo beans, chickpeas, which we're going to include in the recipe today, have as much protein as a steak. So there's plenty of protein there. But what's nice about when we get the protein from the beans, it comes with all these other micronutrients that are not in the steak. And it comes with a lot of fiber, which is not in the steak.
Not in the steak. Not in the steak, no fiber.
And so it's like, these are the things that round out the diet that supports the body to be healthy, is we need that fiber to feed the microbiome. That is what's responsible for like 80% of our immune system. So if we want to have a good defense against anything, flu, COVID, anything, we want that fiber.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's not part of the reason that I really want beans and lentils every day. My microbiome is sending me little signals. Beans, lentils, now.
Yeah, it is interesting. Now Connie's a great cook, so the recipes, the flavors of the dishes we have here are really satisfying. But I think, as much as I'm drawn to a lot of the bean dishes that Connie makes, it's my body's fulfillment from the nutrition side that really draws me to it. I can see now how much I used to eat kind of from the shoulders up, what's going to taste good, what's going to give me that quick hit of this or that. And then I wouldn't feel so good afterwards. But I can see how I was driven for the experience of eating.
The dopamine hit.
Dopamine hit. And now when I'm thinking about, let's see, what do I want to eat? It's like I'm accessing more the intelligence of my body, maybe, and being drawn to what nourishes this body instead of what gives me kind of a pleasure experience for 15, 20 minutes. So yeah, beans are a great source of protein, and they come with all these other nutritional benefits, health benefits. And also they're a great source of carbohydrate. So carbohydrate is kind of the gold standard for the energy we need to really, have the energy we need to get through the day. And the great thing about getting the carbohydrate source in the form of whole beans is that it's a very complex carbohydrate. So it breaks down very slowly. So we get the simple sugar out of the carbohydrate at a rate into our bloodstream that doesn't spike insulin levels, which has been shown to have so many negative effects. And it allows the body just to use the fuel as it's coming in.
What does spike insulin levels are those processed carbohydrates, not these wonderful whole food plant-based carbohydrates. They actually do the opposite.
Yeah. So when we eat the complex carbohydrates for our energy, it's kind of like putting a big log in the fire to heat the house. So it just slowly burns at a rate that heats the house nicely and lasts a long time, as opposed to just putting little kindling or twigs in, or even Kleenex or something. You know, when we eat anything that has white sugar, refined sugar in it, it's like trying to heat the house by putting Kleenex in the fireplace. And whoosh, it's this big explosion and then nothing. And so, yeah, the beans are a great source of protein and complex carbohydrates. And also, they're a very unique food because of these high levels of fiber that has what's called resistant starch in. So this is an interesting thing. It's a new thing to me, that there are these carbohydrates, this starch, that actually isn't broken down by the digestive enzymes in our digestive system. And so when you look at the carbohydrate count or the calorie count in beans, what this means is that a number of the calories that are in the beans are not actually getting into the body. So they don't look like high caloric foods anyway, but actually they're even lower caloric foods, which means we're getting more nutrients per calorie than it even shows in the calorie count. So that's a great thing for people that want to lose weight. You can eat as many beans and lentils as you want because the calories aren't that much, and even the calories that are in the beans and legumes, all of that isn't even going into the body. What it's going into is it's feeding our microbiome. It's the bacteria and all the little microbes in the microbiome that eat this resistant starch. It actually ferments the resistant starch, and it makes these short chain fatty acids that are seen now to be so important in helping to heal leaky gut and feed the brain. It's just fascinating what science is learning these days about the importance of the microbiome and how to feed it well.
One thing I heard, I've been listening to this health summit today, and this researcher, an MD who works with people who have gut issues, they found in a recent study that in 30 hours, the microbiome shifts. It doesn't even take any time at all. So if you haven't started whole food plant-based eating, just realize that in 30 hours you can begin to experience something new, and your microbiome will thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, along those lines, it seems that these high levels of fiber that feed the microbiome are really strong anti-cancer. It has a very strong anti-cancer impact. One of the research studies that Dr. Furman was talking about when he was explaining the G-bombs that we were listening to is how they looked at people who ate beans twice a week. And those people that ate beans twice a week compared to those who didn't eat beans had a 50% less risk of developing colon cancer. I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, amazing.
So I just kind of put the numbers together, and the numbers don't always work this way, but it's like, well, if I eat beans every day, what are my chances of getting colon cancer? I like those statistics.
Or any cancer for that.
Yeah, that's true. There's a high fiber in the beans, or high fiber in anything, really helps to protect against so many different types of cancer. So yeah, beans are worth adding every day to the diet.
So go for it. Include G for greens and B for beans, and see what happens, how you feel. The recipe today, we'll put a little clip of that so you can see how gorgeous it is stuffed
sweet potato with beans.
Yes, and spinach. It's gorgeous, and I think you will love the flavors that it contains. And it's very filling and such a joy to eat. Food should be joyful.
That's true.
And it is joyful when it reflects the body's appreciation for giving it what it needs for great health.
Yeah. Well, thanks, everybody.
Bye.
We'll see you again next week.
Oh, now we got to add the final walnuts and black pepper. Oh, that is so beautiful.